Welcome back to Real Love Scenario. I want to give you a weather report.
Oh my goodness.
I'm a little under it. I'm a little under the weather.
You are feeling a little bad.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit better today than I felt this whole week. But it sucks when you are under the weather and you have obligations. So
yes.
Brie and I went to see Kevin Hart this weekend.
Yes.
Or on Thursday. That. It was great, but it's one of those situations where you bought tickets months ahead. Right. It's a little pricey, so you can't just not go.
So you just had to push through it.
Had to push through it.
Yes.
We were in a suite. That was my first time having an experience like that in a suite. The best experience.
Never want to go back, right? No. You never want to go back.
Just to the pure fact of having a bathroom.
Your own bathroom.
In the suite.
Yep. And it's also funny, when you have a suite experience, you realize how much you can enjoy enjoying the show and being there with your people.
Yeah.
The few times I've been in a suite, I have watched the show, but also not watched the show while it was going on because I'm just vibing with my friends.
I can't imagine, because I know you did it for a concert, right?
Yes, I did it for a concert and a basketball game.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a concert, I can imagine it's probably the perfect experience. Comedy show is you're there to listen. So True. It's you gotta kind of pay attention. But yeah. A concert, you could just be dancing,
you just partying,
and you up in the kitchen area pouring a drink. Yeah, yes. It got to be a good time. So yes, I'm feeling a little bit better.
Good.
But yeah, I'm doing good. How was your week?
It was good. It was up and down. I had some really long days, but I also just had some days that were normal, which is nice because, as you know, most of them are not normal. Most of them are long and ridiculously crazy. I did have some crazy moments. Mm-hmm. Yes. If you follow me on social media, you saw I found a cat in an apartment.
What was it eating? How long was it there?
I don't think it was there for that long because I feel like it would have used the bathroom more than it did if it had been in there for a really long time. So I think it had just gotten in there and it didn't eat anything. It was starving. So we fed it pork rinds and water.
One thing about property management, no day is the same.
Child.
Every day is a surprise.
I could go without pop-up pets though. I could really I don't need that ever again. I'm good.
But what people should know in your years of experience, that's not even close to the worst thing.
No, it's not the worst thing.
No.
Probably one of the craziest things because Dre, the cat was in a closet with the doors closed.
How did you get in here?
How did you get in the closet? And who the hell closed the doors behind you? Did you figure out how to close these doors? So, no, not the craziest thing. Lord, I could fill a whole episode talking about the craziest things.
Yes,
but that just was interesting.
Got you.
Yes.
So let's address the elephant in the room before we get to our real life scenario.
Okay.
We are in a different location.
Yes, we are.
We are in B-More.
Baltimore. What up, B-More? My people.
The Cube co-work space.
Yes, the largest African-American woman-owned co-working space in the nation.
Yep. Shout out Dr. T.
What's up, Dr. Tam? So good seeing you today. So good seeing you today. So proud.
She is I have to say that she is now a true Baltimore talking friend that I have.
Yes.
Because even though you're my close Baltimore friend, you don't talk Baltimorean.
Yeah, my
often.
Accent isn't as strong.
Yeah.
Yes.
But with her, it's the skews, the twos, the do's.
Yes.
Yeah. So shout out to her because she's amazing. She's letting us film here. Other show that we produce and help out on or do is Don't Call Me White Girl Show, and that's also filming here. She's just amazing. It's an amazing space. Come here for events. You can book events. I think they have daycare services. They have offices.
Yes. If you need a space, this is the space. It's beautifully, conveniently located. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, 15,000 square feet.
Crazy large.
Yes.
That's how Baltimore girls do, though.
I say Baltimore been good to me.
Yeah, it has
Baltimore has been very good to me.
It has been.
Are you ready to hop into our real life scenario?
Let's do it.
One other shout out. I had a real love scenario person.
Oh yes, you saw Kay.
Kay come up to me in Wegmans.
Yes.
And it's always funny because it was whenever you are on your bummy grocery run.
Oh yeah, that's always when you see people. Yep. Yep.
You kind of like got your hood on, head ducked off, like, all right, I'm just about to run in here, run back out.
This is the main day where I don't want to see a soul, and here you are like, hey, yeah.
And it's like, oh, hey. And I hope she didn't feel like I came off like anyway. I was excited to see her, and that was really cool. But
that is dope.
It was in that moment where I was like, oh, man, like I wasn't expecting to run into anybody. But she was
Shout
so
out
nice.
To Kay. Yes, that's awesome. All right, let's jump right in. This week's real love scenario comes from Janae. Okay. Janae says, I was dating a guy that I've known since I was 13. I'm 30 now. We were on the same page about marriage and our future, but he started to show some concerning mental health issues and seemed to lack the ability to be able to communicate effectively. I mentioned it to him that I felt like we should take some time to figure out how to better communicate and that I wanted him to really get a handle on his mental health. All he heard from me was that I wanted to be single, and his main concern seemed to be sex. He has some abandonment and rejection issues, so I tried my best to be reassuring and let him know that I'm not going anywhere and that I love him. All of this came up after me being extremely frustrated and feeling unheard. Months go by, I think we're in a good place, so I decide to tell him all the positives that I've noticed and have some much needed conversations. I never even got the chance to have this conversation with him because he cut me off cold turkey. We went from talking about our futures and moving in to him telling me not to come visit him because someone is living with him, and if I come to see him, I can't come in. Child, okay. All of this is in the same week. Now there's some random girl that has been subtly doing petty posts on Facebook, and she laughed at me saying when I said that I love him. I'm feeling like they're sleeping together, but I also know my mind tends to think of the worst thing first. One of the last things he told me was that I still love you, but I want to be alone for now. And I don't know if this means he's done or if he's seeing other people. At this point, I've been trying to reach out and communicate, but he's been ignoring all forms of communication with me for 3 weeks. I can hear myself rationalizing what he's doing and trying to justify his borderline emotional abuse. And I know it's because of my own scars from the past. I'm not sure what to do, and I feel like it's making me anxious and depressed. There's so much more to this situation, but I don't know the character count for the submission, so I'm going to just stop here. Any advice you can give me, I'd be more than appreciative.
Wow.
Janae.
Thank you for writing in.
Yes, thank you.
That is something else.
Listen, so...
Where you want to start?
I don't goddamn know. Where you want to start? Let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
Let's just start from the beginning.
Well, I'll pose this question, and a question that we had talked about, and like, so have you ever gotten mixed signals from someone, and how do you handle it?
Absolutely. I've gotten mixed signals from someone. Okay. And I've handled it in a couple of different ways. And I'm going to tell you which way is the right way to handle it and which way is...
Are we getting bad advice already?
No. Okay, I'm just telling you, realistically, I've gotten mixed signals from someone and I chose to focus on the signal that I wanted to focus on. So if he was giving me, a vibe that he really wanted to be together, but also a vibe that he doesn't want to be together, I would choose the one that I wanted
to hear.
I picked what was satisfied me in the moment. That is the wrong thing to do.
Yes.
The right thing to do is to see mixed signals as just a bad thing. Yeah. Anyone that is serious about you would not confuse you. They would not send you mixed signals. They would be clear and concise with what it is and what they want. And to be honest with you, I think all of us get into a space of uncertainty in life.
For sure.
But I think it should not be permanent, right? Like, I'm uncertain sometimes about, how to make the next step into my career, but I can't stay there. Confusion is a bad place to be in.
For sure.
So mixed signals is a bad thing. Just overall, it's a red flag. Anyone who wants something concrete will be very clear about that. Yeah. Have you ever given mixed signals?
Yeah, I think we all have to a certain extent given mixed signals. I don't even know if it was always consciously giving mixed signals. Because sometimes you have indecision within yourself. Like, I think sometimes when things happen to people assume that somebody's deliberately doing something all the time, to where that's not always the case. Sometimes that person just kind of doesn't know. I remember my first girlfriend in college, who I had talked about at one point. I don't think I was ready, but I kind of wanted to move forward with the relationship to a certain extent because I didn't want anybody else to like kind of, get with her. So it's like, I was internally,
you wanted to put your deposit down on it.
Yeah, exactly. But I wasn't ready, but I wanted, but I didn't know I wasn't ready. I thought I was, but that was that internal battle. So sometimes signals may have been mixed at different times of the day, at different periods. It could have been one thing or another thing, to where it could have you confused, but it wasn't purposely.
Yeah. And I think in Janae's situation, that question is very fitting, because that is, to me, the overarching theme of every single thing, is that you're doing something, but you're saying something else, or you're saying something, but you're doing something else. Like, it's actions up and down, in and out. Yeah, it's just up and down and in and out.
Well, I think with mixed signals, first, hopefully everybody knows what a mixed signal is. Just basically when communication isn't clear.
Right.
It's like you're getting different things from somebody. And I feel like your natural reaction when you receive a mixed signal is, what I learned is not what you should harp on, is trying to figure out why they're giving you mixed signals.
Yes.
Like, that's your natural reaction. It's like, why? Like, why are you saying this? But when you do this, it's not matching what you're saying, or what? It's confusion. And it's natural to look into the why, but I think I learned that if you focus too much on that, then you'll get lost in what's really important, is that it doesn't matter why you're inconsistent. If you can't be consistent, it doesn't matter why. I don't want inconsistency. So this ain't going to work. And this is a myth too, or something I want to explain, that is important about mixed signals, because what mixed signals come off as is like indecision, right?
Yeah.
And not truly understanding what you want, or confusion. But you can clearly communicate if you haven't come to a conclusion about something.
Yes.
You can easily say like, hey, this is where my head is right now. I'm not really sure, if I want to move forward with this. I have these things on my plate. And that's me clearly telling you that I am unclear about how I want to move forward.
That's right.
But that's why you said mixed signals is a red flag, because it's almost like a game. It's like, you could easily tell me that you are confused or you don't know how to move forward. But instead of telling me that, you're just
going left to right, left to right.
Doing
I want it, I don't
things.
Want it. I want it, I don't want it. No.
And it's not clear. And it's like, that's a game. And I think that if you're a person who does not want that, it doesn't matter why they're sending you those signals. You don't want that. So that's not the person for you at that moment, if they're giving you mixed signals, because they don't know what they want.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It was also interesting. One of the things that Janae led with was that he had, he showed signs of mental health issues. And it kind of made me think of this question, because, we've talked about it several times on here. Mental health is important, and I think we all know that, and it's necessary, like, that you should take care of your mental health. It matters.
Yes.
But it made me think of the question, how much grace do you give someone when you're in a relationship with them for their mental health issues?
So I think this is a very tough thing. I was thinking about, when we read it, I was thinking about mental health, and I feel like that's such a.
Go ahead, say it.
Mental health is such a hard thing mental health issues is such a hard thing to judge, right?
Yeah.
And I say that because when you look at what mental disorders are, whether that's clinical depression, anxiety, bipolar, like these different things, we all kind of are sometimes on a spectrum of that to a certain extent.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So it's like, although you may not be like full out anxiety attacks, you may still have some anxiety. Although you may not be clinically depressed, you still have moments sometimes of depression.
Yeah.
And that just weighs in between people. Like even Bree, she had really bad anger when I met her. Now she never had to go to anger management, and it's gotten better, and really no episodes now.
Yeah.
But it's like she was on that spectrum of anger. So it's like, when you are saying like somebody has mental health issues, it's kind of like what I said the last episode about love. It's like loving somebody in spite of. It's like we all are going to have some type of issues, traumas, PTSD, like something that you're going to have to stick with your partner through as they're trying to work and navigate these things.
Yeah.
And I always tell people that, well, no, I'm not going to say that, but I want to also, I'm going to say it.
Yeah, because I was about to say it.
I'm about to say it. Well, I just want to clear the air from what I said last episode about love, because my posts went viral, it's doing well on social media, but a lot of people were like, oh, not through anger, like, not in spite of anger, or misconstruing what I was saying about love.
Yeah.
Love is loving somebody in spite of, but that doesn't mean tolerating everything. That doesn't mean sticking around for everything. It's about, like, you got to think about it like the love your mom has for you. Your parents will always love you.
Yes.
But sometimes they have to distance yourself and love from a distance, because you can't allow that person to take you down or bring you down, or you got to discipline that person, or it's a reason why tough love is a saying. That doesn't mean that you don't love that person, but that doesn't mean you tolerate everything either, even though you're loving somebody in spite of. So that's what I'm saying, is true love is loving somebody in spite of what they're doing, but it doesn't mean tolerating and putting up with everything. And that's relevant to this. Because with the mental health and with giving grace to your partner, it's like you're going to have to love them in spite of some of the things that they're going through.
Yes.
Now, I think that it's a different type of support if you're married versus dating. And it's also a different type of support if somebody is truly like clinically diagnosed, or like diagnosed with a certain condition, or if they're on the spectrum of a certain condition.
No, for sure. And I actually want you to break down kind of your view on when you say it's a little different when you're married versus when you're in a relationship. But one of the things I was thinking you were going to say when you said, mental health issues are hard to judge. And I agree, yes, they are. But what people don't want to say, because mental health is so sensitive and it is very serious. But the truth of the matter is there are people who will use it as the catchphrasey thing that it is today. That,
for sure.
Oh, I have this thing, so you have to give me grace. When it's like, if you
becoming the victim.
Yeah, like you magnify it beyond what you just talked about. Like all of us, I watched a clip this week where the guy said, every person that is alive today is suffering or will suffer at some point in their lives.
For sure.
We are all experiencing things that we don't love and we don't like, sometimes on a daily basis for the whole day, sometimes for a minute or two here and there. Sometimes you may not feel a suffering or uneasy about something for months and months, but you will not live and not feel pain or frustration or sadness or anger or irritation or anxiety. You will likely experience all of these things. But if you are saying you have a mental health issue that has not been medically diagnosed, and you're not even seeking to pursue to see if there's something you should try to work on with a medical professional, I can't just go with just giving you blind grace for something that you're just using when I'm bringing issues to you. Yeah. Like I bring something to you that you're doing something in this relationship that I don't like, and you're like, oh, well, it's because of my anxiety. Okay, cool. Well, what are you doing about your anxiety? Are you working on it? Are you talking to a professional about it? Like if you're not doing anything, you just think I'm just going to permanently stay here with you and this alleged anxiety? I can't rock with that.
No, I think what you said is the perfect point when it comes to like grace. With dealing with anybody who has any type of issue or even mental health issue. And I want to say this, where's my camera?
Where's your camera?
Where's my camera? Is that it doesn't matter what somebody's going through until they acknowledge it and understand that this is a thing and that they're actually going through this thing. You're not going to make any headway. Like, I don't care how much you love them, how much you try to reveal something to them. If they don't in their self recognize that it's an issue, no matter what it is, depression, anxiety, narcissism, like anything, if they can't recognize that it's an issue, you're not going to make any headway.
Nope.
Like that's the first part of it. I always talk about the things that Brie and I dealt with, but there was never, especially with her early on and a lot of things that she was trying to battle through, there was never, she never was like, this is not a thing.
Right.
It was like, no, this is a thing. I'm trying to work on it. I've been acting like this is how I grew up. This is a habit I've had, and I'm trying to work on it. Yeah. Because the only way to get better with those things is seeking help. And,
absolutely.
But if you can't acknowledge
you can't
that thing even exists,
yeah,
you're not going to be able to make any headway.
You won't see it in yourself, but if someone brings it to your attention, like realistically, you have to at least try to see, like, is this really potentially a thing? Or if you can weave together examples, or your mom told you, and then your coworker told you, and then now your partner is telling you, and one of your friends told you.
Yeah.
Everybody can't just, for people that are completely disconnected from each other, they all can't be seeing something in you that is not actually happening. Sure. So, while I think Janae wrote that he had signs of mental health issues, did he tell you that he has mental health issues, or are you just enlightened and you can recognize that in people? And to your point, does he think he has it and is therefore doing anything about it? Based on what you wrote, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I actually think you are making that excuse for him.
Yeah, I think what you said is so key. It's the messengers, the people who are letting you know these things. And sometimes they have to, the people who are receiving it don't always see it that way, but it's like understanding, like, yo, I love you. Yeah. I want to be with you. I want the best for you.
Yeah.
If I'm telling you this, I'm not just telling you this.
I'm not just doing it to pick a fight.
I'm not trying to pick a fight. Yeah. I'm not trying to make you upset. Like, this is something that I'm honestly telling you that I see that is happening. And I would say, if you're on the other side of that, you owe it to that person to at least self-evaluate and try to see, like, all right, what are they talking about? What am I missing that maybe I'm not seeing? Or if you're saying that my actions of doing this is coming off in a particular way that I didn't think it was coming off as, like, I owe it to you to be like, okay, maybe it is, and really evaluate that thing. And I think that's what helped Brie and I a lot, is just understanding that it's like, all right, if this person's telling me this, even though I don't believe it's true, they're telling me out of love.
Yeah.
No, and it's like, I gotta have a mindset of self-evaluating and making sure to see, like, is this really something that I'm doing?
Yeah, for sure. So you talked about earlier, what support looks like in a relationship versus marriage. Do you think, it sounded like you feel like there's kind of a definitive line on how far that support really goes when you're just dating or just in an exclusive relationship versus once you actually get married?
Oh yeah, for sure. But I mean, because that's what dating is right? Is being with someone and kind of determining if this is, it's not an evaluation test, but there's different stages to where you're evaluating to determine if this is the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. That's why they say, like, premarital counseling isn't always just to get married. Sometimes people in premarital counseling realize
that they shouldn't
get married because they're learning more about themselves in the evaluation process. Yeah. But once you make that decision to get married and saying, I choose you through sickness, through health, rich or poor, for better or for worse, it's like you are it. If you are struggling through something, I would think, number one, hopefully you're not going into a marriage to where these things are obvious, or there are things that somebody is struggling from going into marriage. So I would assume going into marriage, you guys are in a pretty good space. So if something changes along that lines, something had to happen.
Yes.
So it's like I think, owe it to that person that you're with to stick with them and try to help them figure out and work through these things, especially if you're married. But that's the point. On the flip side, that's the point of not being married yet, is that if you feel like you can't deal with this,
you can leave.
Then you can leave the situation.
Yeah.
And you don't get married. So it's a, my mindset when it comes to marriage is that, like, this is it.
This is it.
This is it. Like, there is no, I'm leaving. Whatever we're going through, we got to figure it out. Yeah. There's no other option.
There is no other option.
And that's my mindset.
And before y'all take that the wrong way, my camera, Dre does not mean that your partner, your husband, or your wife can be beating you, abusing you, doing really horrific things to you, and you stay. That is not what he is saying. No, because there are things that regardless of the level of relationship, if you are married, if a person is violent towards you, sexually violent towards you, that is not a for better or for worse thing. No. That supersedes that. So, I just want to clear that up.
Thank you for clearing that up. Yes, yes. Because
I mean, sometimes y'all love you guys, but you will over analyze a statement and not use just general good common sense. Nobody is telling you, well, you married him, that's your husband. If he punch you in your face every day, you need to stay with him. No, nobody is saying that.
Yeah, no, that's not. And I saw somebody, like I said, on my post is like, well, what if
not gonna love you in spite of you being an angry, violent person towards me? No, that's
and it's
crazy.
like I might still have love for you, but I gotta stay away from you, distance myself from you. I can't deal with you anymore. I want you to get help. Mm-hmm. I want you to become better, but it's not going to be my responsibility to take that on. So yeah. Thank you for clearing that up.
No problem.
That's not.
Absolutely. I know, putting content out there and using your voice to share your opinions, they could get completely warped versus how you said it out of your mouth and what your mindset was when you said it. There is a part of Janae's story that I just wanted to kind of break down a little bit, where she says that in a week's time, he went from being in a relationship with you to moving in with someone that you can't come into that space with. And if you come see him, you have to stay outside.
So I have a thought on that second part of it. Mm-hmm. And I do believe that self-sabotaging is a thing. Mm-hmm. And part of self-sabotaging, one of the parts or things that are hints of self-sabotaging, is avoidance. Mm-hmm. And it's avoidance of responsibility. So it's like if somebody starts to challenge you and ask you to do better or be better or to be more accountable or have more responsibility,
you start to tear the whole situation
up. You start to tear it up because you don't want to be that accountable.
Yes.
You don't want to be that responsible. Mm-hmm. So you sabotage that relationship and you get into something that you don't have to be as accountable or as, responsible.
Yep.
So that's what that kind of gave me is like, all right, you set a standard. I'm not ready to meet that standard. So I'm going to make up something that's going to allow me to get out of this and sabotage this situation, even though probably the standard that you're asking me to hold myself to will make me a better person.
Yes.
But
make me a better person, make me a better partner in this relationship, potentially make this relationship go into a more committed space.
Exactly.
All things that seemingly he does not want. The reason I wanted to go into that is because it frustrates me, even when it happens to me, right? Even, and when I say happens to me, even when I do this, when a person is giving you, because this is maybe halfway through all of the things that he has done that you don't like, right? He gave you signs of mental health issues and then projected them onto you and said that somehow it was about sex or lack of sex, or the sex wasn't good. You didn't expound there, but something related to sex that this is, he rebutted you bringing that to him with, well, sex is a problem in our relationship. You tell him and express your feelings and how you want things to be better. And he interpreted that you wanted to be single when that's not the language that you use. You just want him to get better so you all can stay together. Then he gives you a signal at, let's just call it the top of the week, and come midweek, he is now taking up housing with a person that you can't come into this space. You can't literally come in there. And it's with a woman that is on Facebook that is putting up subliminal post messages towards you and laughing at you for saying that you love him.
Yeah.
I say this with all of the kindness in the world. The fact that you even are asking what to do about this is concerning, right? Because after you wrote this out, the answer to me should have been there for you.
Yeah.
That you are having to figure it out, do a bunch of guesswork, put pieces together. And then the worst thing that I find women do a lot is you give him excuses. You give him reasons to be doing this to you. He has mental health, or he didn't grow up a certain way, or he just doesn't know how to love. He never told you that, though. He never told you that. You could be perceiving it. You could even be bringing it to his attention. But if he doesn't acknowledge it, to what we said earlier, and he continuously does things to push you away, why do you want to go back? Why? Why do you want to keep going back to someone that is doing, I mean, he might as well kick you and spit in your face. He is giving you every reason to not want him. And it's very cowardly. Don't get it twisted. He's for sure wrong based on how you wrote this scenario. But we have got to stop choosing what we want to see in the situation. Like you want to see something because at some point you talked about marriage. At some point he wanted to be in a relationship with you. But come on, baby, that's just too many things for you to really still be trying to figure out, what should I do with him? Absolutely nothing. He said, I love you, but I want to be alone. And you're saying, well, what do I do? Nothing. You leave him alone. That's actually what you do. You do nothing, right? Because he said what he said at that point. Even if he said something different 3 days ago, you have to be tired of this, right? I would think you would be tired of this.
Yeah, it's. I don't get why some people, and I do get it. It's emotional. That's what it is. It's not a logical feeling. It's an emotional feeling. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times, and I remember asking people this question. I was like, well, what do you ultimately want in your life? Do you want to have a happy, healthy relationship, or do you want this person? Like, do you want to have a happy, healthy relationship and find a person who matches that? Or do you want this person and trying to get a happy, healthy relationship out of that person?
And most of the time they want the person.
And most of the time they're choosing that person.
Yes.
Instead of wanting a happy, healthy relationship and finding somebody who matches that.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't make sense, because you're sitting there trying to force this person. It's like, I don't know if this is a good analogy or not. You know how I like to come up, but it reminds me of like if you broke your leg, right? Mm-hmm. And the point when you break your leg, you want to get your leg healed.
Yes.
But instead of going to all the doctors who are already doctors and have experience in this space and that can heal your leg, you're saying, I want this person to heal my leg. So I'm just going to keep it broke until he told me
figure out how to be a doctor.
He told me he was going to med school, and he told me that he was going to so I'm going to wait for him, because he told me that at some point he would go to med school so that he can heal my broken leg.
Sure.
And it's like, so you're just waiting for that person to get it together instead of just leaving and say, well, maybe if you get yourself together, you become a doctor later, maybe it could work. But I'm not waiting to get my leg fixed.
Yeah.
For you to become a doctor.
No.
There's plenty of doctors out here.
That was a perfect analogy. And I'm not laughing like at the situation, but sometimes you really do have to like dumb it down or put it in something that's completely disconnected for you to see just how silly it is, right? Like, and I get it, because I'm an emotional person. We all, for the most part, are, and we do sometimes make emotional decisions, especially when it comes to love. Mm-hmm. But it is because we are conditioned to see love and romantic relationships in a very whimsical way. Yeah. We don't always remember that it does actually require logic. It does actually require you to say, does this make sense for me?
Because love is a choice.
Yeah. It's not just about wanting something from a person. How does wanting this from that person make you feel? And you said it makes you have anxiety and it makes you feel depressed. Is that the type of love that you want? That's not love, right? That's not love. Those are not things that describe love. You can have challenges in your relationship, and having a spat with your person can make you feel sad. I know when I've been in a relationship and me and my guy got in an argument, I felt sad, or we had a disagreement. I didn't like how I felt, but it was temporary. But this has been dragging on and going on, and now it's a whole nother person in the situation, and you're really like, what do I do? Choose yourself is what you do.
Yeah, and I think that's a big thing that I have learned through marriage as a man, is that I feel like men are responsible for providing security within their relationship. Physical is important. Yeah. I mean, you're 9 times out of 10 more physically built than the woman that you're with. Security as far as providing, making sure your home is secure, but also it's emotional security.
Yes.
And the spiritual security. It's like, there's a reason why the word is called insecure. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Is your insecurity shouldn't be fed by me. I should not be the reason that you are insecure about yourself. I'm not providing security. It should be no reason that when you're with me, you don't feel beautiful, or you don't feel cute, or you feel anxiety, or you feel uneasiness or depressed. When you're with me, I'm supposed to be providing security for you. You shouldn't feel insecure and more unstable when you're in the presence of me. Yeah, that's an issue.
And while your partner can't, that's if you truly have clinical depression. Your partner can't fix that for you, but you should feel secure that they have your back while you fix fix it for you, or while a medical professional fixes it for you. They should not be exacerbating and just exploiting what you're experiencing. And this guy is he's exploiting what you're experiencing, and you calling it out as self-sabotage, because people are cowardly as fuck. I just gotta say it straight up and down. Everybody is an adult until it's time to have difficult conversations and say, hey, this is what's happening, or I don't like this anymore, or hey, I don't want to be in a relationship, because we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But your behaviors and your self-sabotaging and you trying to make me hate you is also hurting me.
Yeah.
To get to a place where I have to hate someone that I once loved is a very painful transition that I should not have to experience. If you just tell me, I'm going to be hurt either way, right? I'm going to be hurt if you up and decide I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. But I'm going to be more hurt that you didn't even respect me enough to just tell me the truth, that you rather drag it out, introduce a woman into the situation, embarrass me, make me, you know what I mean? Like, just tell me and let the anxiety of how you feel about having to break my heart in that moment, like, that's your journey to work on. But to not respect me enough to give me the kind of, I don't want to say easy way out, but just giving me the grace to just like leave. And sometimes that is blocking me. We talked about this on a previous episode where like she wanted to keep going and keep talking to him and forcing him to have a conversation. Like, sometimes if you're really done, you have to cut me and like really cut me off. Like, cause some people might really be like, I don't want to be with you. And you like, no, but I want to be with you. I'm gonna call him, pop up at your house. I'm gonna da da da. That's why I was on the fence about sending this person something, because maybe he really is like, I'm really done with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the fact that he is just creating a messy situation in hopes that you will like hate him, and you still, I don't say you should hate him, but you still are like, dang, what should I really do? Like, the logic in a relationship when it comes to walking away is really deciding what's more important, me loving this person or me loving myself. Like, and to me, in a relationship, I do feel like no matter what, you can love a person more in their moment. But if they are taking away from you, withdrawing, like depleting you of all of your energy, all of your happiness, come on now. Like, you're not going to be good for anybody. You're not good for yourself. You're not good for him. You're not good for your friends. You're not good for anybody. Yeah. You have now completely turned your life over to this person who doesn't even deserve it.
No, I agree. And I'll say this is that if you're in a relationship and you're dealing with problems within a relationship, this goes from dating all the way to marriage. Don't invest in a why until they invest in a why, or unless they are invested in a why. It's like, don't commit yourself to trying to figure out the issue or solve the problem until they themselves are trying to figure out the issue and solve the problem.
Yeah.
I talk about it all the time. I said in a previous video with Brie and I is that the one way for a teacher to know that a kid wants to get a good grade in the class is by that kid showing up to class. That's the first commitment. You could tell me all that you want a good grade, but if you don't show up to class, you're not committed to even doing the simple thing that it's going to take in order to get this done.
Yep.
And a lot of times when we go through things, whether that's getting ghosted or, dealing with issues in your relationships, you always want to search for the why. But just take a rule of thumb. If that person is not invested in the why and figuring out the why, then you shouldn't be invested. So if you get ghosted, you're wondering why they ghosted you. They don't care.
They don't care why they ghosted you. Nope.
They don't care. They just did it. So you shouldn't be invested in it.
Yep.
And I say that speaking from experience in relationships, is that when you and your partner or your partner is really going through something, both of you guys are trying to figure out, why do I think this way? What do we need to do to solve this? Yeah. Like, Bree has gone to counseling. We have gone to counseling. We have sat and tried to figure out things together and acknowledge things together and where could this have come from? I don't know why I think this way, or I'm trying to figure it out. This is what I'm thinking. I'm spitballing it off of you. We both are invested in the why of why we're trying to do it. But if you are the only person invested in the why and they're not invested in why they act that way,
they don't care.
They don't care.
Nope.
And the thing is that when it comes to those situations and they're not invested in the why doesn't matter. Why does it matter? If I order something from a restaurant, some bread, and they got mold on it, I don't care why it got mold on it.
Right.
I don't want molded bread.
I don't want it.
I don't need to know why. I don't need to figure it out. I don't need to ask the chef.
So when did y'all buy this bread? Yeah. How long was it in the back? Did you have it stored in the proper thing?
Exactly.
You should have put it in the refrigerator. I don't care.
I don't want molded bread.
Don't.
So if it's molded, I'm good. And that's what the mindset that people have to take towards relationships sometimes. Like, it doesn't matter why somebody's inconsistent. Doesn't matter why they don't hit you back. It doesn't matter why they don't do this. A lot of times is that you know that you have this certain standard that you want in a relationship and that you expect from somebody. Yeah. If they aren't able to meet that standard, doesn't matter why, they can't do it.
They can't do it.
They can't do it. It doesn't matter why they can't do it. They just can't do it. It could be a legitimate reason why they can't do it. We can't get upset at somebody for past trauma and how they grew up and things like that. Like, those are legitimate things that they didn't even have control over, maybe. Sure. But that's not your problem to solve either.
That's it.
So
and
it's
a lot of women are fixers.
Yeah.
I've been there. You want to, like,
that's coming from choosing a person.
Yeah.
You choosing
a person and not a happy, healthy relationship. You're like, I can love you through this. I can make you see that a happy, healthy relationship is what you really want. And it's like, but can you help them see that? I mean, you can. I'm not saying you can't show or introduce things to your partners, your friends, anybody. But until they latch onto it and want it for themselves, it won't matter. They'll always just be doing it to appease you, to shut you up, to give you what you want so you can leave them alone. Or they'll just be telling you that they're doing that, but their behaviors will show you differently. For sure. Taking it back to the mixed signals. I think it's extremely clear and obvious what we think about this situation. Yes. Like, our true thoughts on it. Like, I think the writing is on the wall. And I, to some degree, like, really feel bad, Janae, that you, and I get it because you invested a lot of time. I mean, you knew him since you were 13.
Yeah.
You're now 30. And you believe that he has mental health concerns. So you're trying to give him grace for all of that. But what about the grace that you deserve, right? Like, it doesn't sound happy. It doesn't sound healthy. It sounds like a very bad situation that you need to leave alone.
Yeah.
Like, straight up.
And it's going to take time. Maybe we should do an episode on how to leave and grieve. You know what I mean?
Leave and grieve.
Like, how to do that. Because I feel like, all right, I know this situation isn't good for me, right? I know I need to leave, but I'm emotionally invested and it's hard. How do I do that?
Yeah.
And I think that's a struggle for people sometimes. It's like, and I believe in, it's no different than regular habits. I don't know if you ever heard of the book Atomic Habits. Love that book. It's a really good book. I recommend anybody listen and read it. It's amazing, or listen to it on an audiobook. It's great. Okay. But it just talks about with habits, how important it is to, I forgot the word they use, but just kind of the recognition of things, or how accessible things are, really contribute to your habits. If you want to eat a banana every day, if you sit it on the counter, you're more, likely to do that. Or if it's stuck in a cabinet somewhere, you're less likely to do it. And I think that when it comes to getting over a situation, that sometimes you do got to block somebody, you do got to unfollow them and block them on social media. Like, you got to remove them from. And
some people think that's so dramatic. I'm like, if you know yourself,
exactly,
and you have to do that, you have to do that. Yeah, I think Mona talked about one time on an episode, like, changing a person's name in your phone to, like,
don't answer
this, or something even worse, like, he wants to ruin your credit, or death, like, kill this person, like something where at the first sight of their communication, you're like, nope. So, Janae, no, baby, choose yourself. This is just, it's not a good situation. So now on to our favorite segment.
Bad advice that works.
Yes. I feel like you're way better at this than me.
You think so?
Yes.
People like my close friends, that episode I was talking about, the close friends comment, where you only put the one person in it.
Yes. I like that too. I was like, that's good. Yeah, that was really good. That's why I say, I swear I feel like you're better at this than me.
Oh, I mean, this is such a hard thing because it's like, it's such a serious matter, and she's really going through a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing, bad advice that will work in this situation, depending on what you want. I mean, you can.
I'm fresh out. I
mean, I've seen women in this situation go the crazy girl route. You match the crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like
you can argue back with the girl on Facebook.
Oh yeah,
find her, the text messages.
Pull up to the house. Oh, I can only be outside. Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Like
you know, just get crazy.
Get crazy.
Don't know how that's gonna work for you though, right? So this is bad advice that may not even. It really probably won't work.
It will get his attention.
It would.
It will get his attention
if that's what you want.
If
you just want his attention, then yeah, get crazy. Go on Facebook. You know, you can always try to figure out who the girl is and DM her the proof that he's still telling you he wants to be with you.
And the horrible advice that I do not suggest that will probably work is just lower your standards or requirements from what you want from him. And that will probably keep him around. Now, how committed he will be to you, how that won't solve your real issues, but that'll probably keep him around to a certain extent, or you'll get some of him versus now you have none of him. But I don't suggest that because that's not going to solve anything in the long run. And that's not ultimately what you want. Choose yourself.
Yeah, please. And I think this guy, to Dre's point, is completely committed to making sure you leave him alone. So even if you lower your standards and you say, oh, I can accept this, and this, he'll figure out another thing to keep you away from him over time. So don't take the bad advice. I'm not going to, this episode.
Don't ever take the bad advice.
Yeah, don't ever take it. But this one for sure, don't take it.
And I'll say this as we end it. Don't allow him to keep coming back either. Right? Because I feel like y'all have known each other for so long and you have that history. And I feel like you don't want somebody to have that access to you that whenever they feel like they're ready, they can hop in and jump into it. But then when they're not ready, then they put you to the side. Nah. This ain't a dip back in, dip back out situation.
The door is closed. And lock it. Don't even let them come back for you know what.
Yeah.
Get some new you know what.
It's like in order to get back in, it's going to be 200 days and I'm still going to look out the window like, still outside. Must be, maybe serious. Like, you know, and then keep going about your day 400. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, they would have to take a big show of long-term change in order for him to have any type of access to you. And then when he does, if he does, then he starts still at stage one. He doesn't get back to where he was.
Boom.
And that's how we ended it.
That's and that's on period.
I love that. That was a good episode.
This was great. Thank you guys for watching. And thank you, Janae, for writing. And we hope we were able to help you. I actually really want an update. So listen, you watch this. Please let us know how this is going. If you took our advice, if you chose yourself, because you deserve to choose yourself. But also, if you want to write into us, you can always go to www.relationshiprestored, click the contact button, and tell us all about your real love scenario.
Yep.
And you can also follow us online.
Yeah, at Dre Smith on Instagram.
At Ronnie Cakes on Instagram.
And at The Relationship Restored. Catch y'all later.
Bye.